guys, I'm Vic and this is Meg. Welcome to another episode of Grit, and joining us today is the reigning USAV Junior Coach of the Year, Nicole Christner. Welcome.
Thank you. The crowd goes wild.
Thank you, ladies.
It is so awesome to have you on the show. We've worked a lot together in coaching, but that's an impressive title to have, USA's Coach of the Year for the Junior Beach Girls in 2023. Talk to us a little bit on your journey of getting to that point in your career.
Yeah, I would love to actually talk to you about the actual journey, but when I did that at the Hall of Fame dinner, when I went to go get my award, I cried the whole way through it, and so nobody could understand me. So I'm not going to say the actual story because it will make me cry. Oh. So I'm just going to go on and say I've been a complete volleyball addict my entire life since 1982, well before either one of you were stars in your parents' eyes. And that's how old I am, guys. And anyway, I've just always been obsessed with the game, and I have a very A++ personality. And I'm glad that what my addiction is beach volleyball. So I've just done everything I can, 25 to 30 years of coaching with kids 13 to 18 years old. Usually I do coach some more mature players in other parts of the year. But it's just been a great journey for me being able to coach these kids for 25, 30 years and learning every day from them. Every single day I learn something new.
Yeah, and I think something that makes you so special to the community is you have this awesome video archive of amazing
We need
tidbits.
to see it. We need to show it to us.
So I do have my phone right here. I didn't bring my iPad. But this is just kind of explains what a dork I am. So these are all albums about every little itty bitty part of the game. Like there's platform, there's setting, there's shuffle, turn, look, cover, call, right? And inside of each one of these are hundreds of videos that are just short takes of maybe slow motion video about almost every pro in the world probably is in here. Some not even pros, some college girls are in here. But I have literally thousands of videos of every single little part of the game broken down. So I can use these to be able to coach the kids so they can, we do a lot of video for them, and then I show them videos of what things should look like. And that's how we get better. But I also am very OCD about studying every arm swing there is in this game, who has what arm swing around the world, what does their step close look like in Germany versus Italy. And I'm a little crazy about it. Can you tell?
Hey, we're all about volleyball.
At least you admit your addiction.
Love it.
Yes, we love a good volley nerd here on Grit. Now, you're based in Atlanta, but do you even live there? Because you are all over the country in every facility that has sand, and if it doesn't, you'll find sand somewhere.
That is true.
Wave a magic wand, and suddenly there's a beach volleyball camp. So walk us through, you're all over the nation almost every weekend.
Literally every weekend. So 10 and a half months a year, I travel every single weekend of my life. I'm in 22 states right now doing beach volleyball camps, and I love it. I am based in Atlanta, which, again, I love you, Dean, my husband, very dearly. We do it for the kids, remember? So yeah, I'm everywhere. I don't know where I am half the time, quite honestly. Megan,
miles
we've been
are probably
places.
racking up.
Yeah, the miles are definitely racking up, for sure. I still, since Delta changed everything, I'm still not where I should be. Thanks, Delta.
I have something to say about that too.
Please.
Because Delta was my airline of choice, and not to mention, they're the airline of Team USA, but they changed it. They changed the whole
I'm so mad.
miles breakdown. I mean, we could nerd out about mileage and the road dog life all day long, but let's probably stick to beach volleyball. But this is a part of it, right? It's that road dog life. And we do earn the miles, and these kids and coaches and professional athletes are all over the world, and you mentor them on the culture part of the game too.
Yeah, I try to at camps. I try to make them grow on the court and off, and be part of them being a great human moving forward off the court, but be that beast that we want them to be on the court. So yeah, just traveling all over the country. I take a 6-week sabbatical, August 2nd. Please, God, let me get to August 2nd. That's what I'm praying for right now. That's when I take 6 weeks off, and won't be at the Olympics with Meg.
Womp womp.
Womp,
Sad
womp,
face.
womp, womp. Last year, I did go to Hamburg for the Elite 16 for my sabbatical last year, because even on vacation, I have to go and watch beach volleyball
Because you're an addict.
because that's what happens. Yes. So anyway, yeah, all over the country, I've been to found amazing courts everywhere in the middle of Colorado, literally in the middle of literally nowhere. You can't see anything but cows and fields. And there's a great guy, Rue Green. He built, it's called The Deep. He built 2 sand courts inside a pole barn. He treated the sand so the sand won't fly around and you don't have to breathe it in. It's the most incredible facility. And he's got an outdoor court. He just built on his farmland. Like, it's amazing. There's places like that all over the place in these little pockets where, I mean, this guy loves beach volleyball and he lives in the middle of the mountains in Denver. And so he built some beach volleyball courts. Like, how fantastic is that?
And we see that. I mean, Wapaka in the middle of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, another corn farm.
Yeah.
You're in
Fields
the
everywhere.
Ozarks in
Yeah.
Missouri.
In the Ozarks as well. I mean, it's everywhere. And Middle America loves beach volleyball. And we see it in the South as well. It's not just on the coast. Sure, there's AVP Virginia Beach. New Jersey has a big volleyball scene. But Middle America are die-hard volleyball.
They are, and it's growing and growing, and that's our journey, right? For all of us to grow the game before we can't play the game anymore, which is me already. That's why I only.
I don't believe it. I don't believe
Trust
it.
me,
I
I
don't.
can't. Some of my kids saw me pepper the other day, and they're like, "Oh my God, Coach Nicole, you can pepper," right? Because I've gotten
Too
to the
busy
point-
coaching.
I'm too busy coaching, A, but B, like, I make them enter the balls now, right? Because that makes them better at the game. But I just realized the other day, I was like, oh, you don't know that I used to play this game, which is very funny. Oh my God, I totally lost track of oh yeah, because we're growing the game. Yeah, we're growing the game around the country. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do, trying to grow it for the boys. Meg and I are both working really hard to grow it for the boys. Yeah. I'm the one that travels around the country and busts my butt. And now I'm bringing you with me places, which makes me so happy. Because we have bigger boys camps, which is
awesome.
So fantastic. Like, I love how much it's grown. So yeah, I mean, that's what we're supposed to do, right? Grow the game, get to places. That's why I travel every single weekend, because guess what? In Haystack, Virginia, it's not a big volleyball community, and there are girls there and boys that want to play the game. There's not that many of them, and there's not a lot of, hopefully there's getting more elite coaches around the country. That's not to say anything negative about anybody, but there are levels of coaches.
Right.
We don't go to coach school, do we? Right? There isn't a coach school.
And it's such a young and new sport. So,
It
I mean,
is.
we don't have that luxury of the apprenticeship for year on, year on.
Yeah. It's not like an FIVB coaching certificate, right? I mean, they really have to work. It's school, right? For us in the United States, I mean, it's talked about with you guys. I've listened to it on this show. On Sandcast, they talk all the time about, like, we need things to be better here for the USA level of things, and just for the independent level. Like, I have been trying to, and we've taken on a lot of coaches to shadow coach us. USA has started doing that, which I think is fantastic, to actually pass on wisdom and get higher level coaches here in the country. We really need that. You know,
Talking about a high level coach, your work husband, I believe you
Yes.
said. John Hayden.
Yeah. I mean, he's a legend, right? Yeah. Literally, obviously, everybody loved him. I love you, John. You are my work husband. We will argue all the time. We have the looks that husbands and wives have, when he'll bring something up and I'll go, and he'll go, no, Nicole, that's not. And I'll be like, right. So we don't even have to say the words. Now we're so used to each other. We know. Yeah. I'm like, really, John, are you still teaching the crossover step on serve receive to my girls, John? Are you? Anyway, I'm trying to get past that. Can you imagine the crossover step on serve receive? Anyway, so yes, I love him dearly. John and I work together a lot. I mean, I can't believe that I get to work with John Hayden. And don't let this go to your head, John, but I can't believe that that's my work husband. 15 years ago, I watched him beat Phil and Todd in Atlanta in 2008, right after the Olympics. And it was insane. Like that. Do you guys remember that match?
Yes.
It was insane, and it was so fun, and I was like, oh my God, everybody, John Hayden and Sean Scott, right? But now he's my work husband. And
well, it's in Tennessee, which is an awesome location to keep growing, because that's part of building this Coach of the Year award for you. Like, you are developing all across the country based in Atlanta with S3 and doing a lot of work at Hayden Beach in Tennessee, growing areas and pockets across the country.
Yeah, I mean, at S3, we have like 300 kids this year have come through the program at S3. That's amazing, right? And we're in North Georgia, right? But again, all over the place in this country, I went to Potomac, Maryland. Like that's one of my stops, right? And I do a camp in this amazing backyard in Potomac, Maryland. You know, it's like Haystack, Virginia. I mean, there's these little pockets that just don't have anything.
Right.
And so we are being able to grow it there. And those coaches will come and shadow with me and hopefully just get growth in their knowledge and just, raise the level of the kids and the coaches around the country, right, before I retire.
And that's key. It's kids, athletes, and coaches.
100%.
There's a learning dearth across the country.
There is. I think that it's really important that coaches with more experience, you can't even say high-level coaches because we don't actually have classes of coaches, right? But if you're a learned coach and you have experience behind you, like grab somebody and let them shadow you so they can learn. Like that's the only way the game grows. The game can't grow without coaches growing, right? You need people to coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I really think that should be an important part of what everybody is doing. And just because you're a great player doesn't mean you're a great coach too.
Yeah.
Right?
We see that. I mean, you see that across a lot of sports that, for maybe somebody, it came really easy to them and, they can't articulate it maybe. And then,
that's the
thing.
And
they're also very well gifted and talented and maybe somebody else isn't able to make their body move the same way.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But let's talk about the camps. What can campers expect to see? And you coach everyone who can just start walking in the sand to over 65. So what do these weekends look like?
So basically, they're 2-day camps with me. I started this base right after COVID. I started trying to make people get their money's worth. And parents were like, get my kid out of this house and make them tired. Like seriously, right? So that's why I was like, okay, an 8-hour day, they're going to be tired and they're going to be out of the house. After lockdown, everybody needed that, right? I mean, I needed to. Back then, I had my own planes, guys, right? Because I was the only person that was traveling. Maybe there were 2 other people.
VIP status.
I was VIP with my own seats. It was awesome. Delta, thank you. I liked you then.
Yeah.
Now, not my favorite. But anyway, so yeah, I think that we have to be able to have these long days to be able to get in as much growth as you can. So Megan and I do a lot of camps together. And we tell everyone, I mean, it's literally a month of training in 2 days. So it's 2 8-hour days. We do a lot of slow-mo video, individual slow-mo videos. They have to look at my videos that I actually put together, little movie videos about each little part of the game. And then they have one-on-one breakdowns in which I sit down with them, or Meg does if she's with me, or John, or whoever. And we pick apart every little piece of their biomechanical situation, mostly in hitting, right? We don't really have time to do that with passing and stuff, but we do that as we go. So it's the first 1 or 2 camps with me at least is fixing all of those movements and their fundamentals. Then we move into more like systems and things like that. So usually when somebody starts with me, they start with me when they're, 13 or 14 years old, and I have them up through college, and then they come back and train with me in college too. John and I are doing a camp in Hermosa for D1 athletes that were with us coming up in July. So it never ends, but they're really, really long days, but how much of a payoff is it after we see their improvements?
Like it's so night and day from when they walk in, especially on the boys' side, because boys really have no exposure in some parts of the country. And you're like, can they walk and chew gum at the same time?
Yeah, bless their hearts.
And then by the end of it, you're like, wow, what they've taken away is such a threshold, higher than what they came in with. It's incredible.
When we were just in Missouri at Ozark, what a great facility, 10 indoor facilities, and like this big, one of those blow up
domes,
dome things, 10 courts. Wow. It was mind blowing.
And a beach bar and a place to play live music.
Yeah.
It was absolutely epic. Ozark, Missouri, check it out.
Yeah, the Brewingtons, you guys did a great job out there. So anyway, going there, we had 12 boys. We had 2 camps. And by the end, we're like literally as a camp, you're 40% better than you were when you walked in.
That's
like
a
your game is
huge number.
Those are huge gains. And I've literally been to, I do at least between 60 and 70 camps per year, 2-day camps. It's a lot, right? And I literally have cried many times when I'm watching them compete at the end, because you're just like, you can't believe how much somebody has grown in such a short period of time. And I'm a woman and I'm old, so I'm gonna cry a lot. When it's like, oh my God, you're so much better. Oh, thank God. It's such a great payoff though.
It is.
I
Right?
mean, your passion does not go unnoticed, and clearly you've been laying the foundation for the youth athletes here in the States. I mean, Meg, you too, like the both of you, it's really inspiring, I think, not only for athletes, but for coaches around the nation to follow in your footsteps and see, how great that this sport can be. And not only are you building these camps and these programs, but you're helping kids get recruited.
Yeah, I've been doing college recruitment for several years. Every year it gets harder. And now with the transfer portal, it's even getting harder. And right now, we've already had, I don't know about you, I've already had 3 girls commit in 3 days. This is the 17th, 18th. So June 15th was their opening day. And it's just like, I have so many kids that I'm representing now, and a lot of them don't understand that it's like the Giants, like everyone in the country is just like Sarah Wood. If you know who Sarah Wood is, do you know who Sarah Wood is? She's a 6'2" sophomore that's been playing. Yeah, she's the youngest. Yeah. She's the youngest person who's ever gotten a main draw in the AVP as a girl.
Nice.
So anyway, everybody goes for them, and then the rest of the country gets to kind of wait and see what happens, right? There's some offers, but it's a trickle-down effect, and it's a slow, painful, long process for a lot of people.
But also what preempted the June 15th go date for the juniors is the transfer portal. So let's get to the grit of what the transfer portal is, because it's a lot of numbers, guys. There's about 250, 300 athletes every graduating class looking to play in college for Girls Beach. On top of that, this year, there was about that same number in the transfer portal already. So you have 2 times the amount of athletes looking for a vacancy at a school to be recruited to. Let's talk about what that has changed and made recruiting like.
I mean, the year before last, I didn't have to worry about anyone. Rehoming them really is what you're doing, right? Putting them in a new program, not reprogramming them. That would be weird. So last year, I had to help maybe 2 or 3 from the portal find a new program. This year, I have been crushed. I don't even know how many kids that I had that were my kids, sadly, go into the transfer portal. Now, is that a good or a bad thing? I don't know. I mean, if it's really not like your place, like did we want to go to college and not be at our place? I always talk about, the broken leg theory. Like if you break your leg and you can't play volleyball, is it a place that you want to be? Right. And a lot of the kids that went in the portal for me this year that were my kids, it's not where they wanted them to be. Right?
Yeah. And isn't that interesting? So the athlete mindset and the type of athlete has changed.
Yeah.
Even when beach volleyball started 10, 12 years ago, it's a lot different athlete that we're dealing with now.
Oh, for sure. And even 5 years ago, I could say, listen, if you're hardworking and focused, there's a program for you. Now we have to be like, you could be a beast and just a total badass and work really hard and be super focused, and maybe there's a program for you. Because now in the portal, there are kids, coaches I've talked to a lot are like, I may just take portal kids because they've already been through their freshman year. That freshman year in college, let's face it, guys.
A lot of mentoring.
Freshman 15s.
It is, yeah.
Like, come on.
There's a lot that goes on. And even like when I went through the recruiting process, when I played at UC Irvine, I was on the indoor side because at that time, beach recruiting wasn't really a thing. Like
Right.
Sarah Hughes and Kelly, that was kind of like the first class that like was that first wave to get recruited specifically for beach volleyball. But we didn't have the portal then. So now having the portal now, it's kind of like a chess game. Like maybe I can try this school out, but I can always jump in the portal. Like that's just another layer. And I was on staff at Pepperdine as their director of ops on the men's team. And these conversations, it's the wild, wild west. And these parents want to know, okay, well, if I send my kid here, like, is there an opportunity to change? will a spot open up at another program. It's kind of like trading in the NBA or NFL.
It is. It's kind
wild.
of crazy.
It's
also
completely
like
crazy.
there's certain rules about the transfer portal. Like you can't just go in. They have to match what your offer was.
Yeah.
So people don't realize that. Go in the transfer portal. I'm like, that's a financial commitment from a new school that they have to match.
That's correct. And you may go in there and you may be lost in space. You may not even get.
We
you
haven't
may not
talked
get
about
picked
that.
up.
That this I think is going to happen this year, big time, and
Oh,
that's a
100%.
big thing that's going to happen. So what happens to all these athletes then?
I
Do
mean,
they go back to their coach?
You
or
can.
like-
I mean, some of my higher level girls that maybe were playing in the duels, that wanted to go in. They were like, I'm going to go in, but my coach said if I want to stay, they'll let me come back, which is
Interesting.
like that's amazing
That's
that a
really
coach
amazing.
would do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Really
mean? I don't know if I were a college coach if I would like
Yeah.
have my arms open for
Right.
that. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like there's so many minuscule things to think about. But nowadays, I'm going to sound very old right now, and I'm kind of okay with it. It's a different mindset.
It's totally
It's
different.
the grass is greener, and hey, I'm just going to take this hop because
Yeah.
it's going to be better somewhere else. Where you have to believe, and I tell kids all the time, like this is buying a house. You're going to check not
Yeah.
all your boxes, right? It's not perfect anywhere. There's no perfect coach. There's no perfect culture. There's no perfect school. Like it just doesn't happen. So if you think that you're going to make this skip and you do get picked up by somebody and you're still unhappy there, well, that's where you're staying because you only get one chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Before we committed to a program and you were there, like for the good or bad, and I was so naive through the recruiting process to begin with, like didn't know if I wanted like a big school or a small school or in-state and out-of-state. And now having coaches like you that can like guide them down that path, it's a little bit easier to have these conversations. But I think that kids do need to realize like the grass isn't always greener somewhere else. And
Right.
like everybody has their own issues. Every family has their own issues, like every relationship, and that's just life. And I think that these are lessons that kids need to learn, and you learn
God,
them
we sound old.
in college, but you do like,
I know.
but like you learn so much in
I
this
know.
chapter of your life. And as you said, like make your list. And if you unfortunately, heaven forbid, you break a leg, do you want to go to school there?
It's
Yeah.
imperative. And I tell these kids that
For sure.
before they go in the program, when they're sophomores, right? When I'm prepping them for their June 15th to come up. And it still happens all the time. I'll tell you, there is something great that Moritz told me years ago from South Carolina. Or no, it was RJ. Sorry, it was RJ. He said, recruits are like microwave popcorn. Some will pop early and you're like, wow, that was okay, right? Some will never pop. And you're like, what happened? We just thought you were really going to pop, right? And then some will just burn out, right? And it really is, to me, that's a great metaphor of what's upcoming and what can happen. I mean, the coaches are taking a gamble on these kids, just like the
Right.
kids are taking a gamble on the coaches,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And you can only prep them. They only hear so much, which I understand. It's very overwhelming. The recruiting process, the girl that I just got recruited, who will be announcing today, she was one of the top in the country. She got really lucky on June 15th, and she still went through a horrible 24 hours. Horrible,
Yeah.
right? So it's never easy. The recruiting process is brutal, whether you're number one, because if you're number one in the country, then you have to make a big decision, and there's a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
right?
And
the
timelines.
timelines, and the whole country's waiting for you. And now this year, there are some coaches that are making exploding offers that you're like, hey, you've got to get back to me within 24 hours
Yes.
or 48 hours.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've heard that too.
every year it gets faster. And that's
And they're supposed to have an actual official visit, which in beach volleyball you can't have until the fall.
right until, after August 1st.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, August 1st. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a long gap on the
It's-
on the side of beach volleyball.
It's a month and a half that they, there's this pressure and social media, and kids are
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to be the first one
Right.
to announce in the country.
Right.
But you have to realize that moment is a moment,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and everyone's going to forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is your life. This is your life you're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
it can't be about social. And I know everything is these days, and that's a
Yeah.
sad fact.
It really is. And that's a part of the recruiting layer now is social media. And it's hard. Like you constantly compare yourself, especially when you're sitting, at this table, like, oh, so-and-so signed here, they signed there. but you have to like put your blinders on and just stay in your lane and trust the process and not be, you know, feel that anxious. I mean, you will feel anxious when you constantly see people posting this and that, but like, who cares? Good. Good on them. That's not your story.
Right.
Just stick to your story and your storyline. Put on your blinders. Reach out to these amazing coaches to help guide you.
Yeah, it is what I tell them all the time. And I've already been having to talk girls off of ledges the last couple of days. I'm sure you have too, where they're like, oh, why her? You know, they'll send me a picture every time somebody commits. And they'll send me a question mark or something like, why her? Who's that? Like, I can't even believe. Why not me? Right? And it is like, I always tell them, this is your journey. It's not their journey. And I talk to them in pod talks during my camps. I also do an entire lunch of pod talks in which we as women will sit down and we'll get very vulnerable and learn how to support each other instead of being mean to each other and vicious to each other as girls. And they don't understand now, but we understand as we're older that we need women, and they're the only safe place, right? Yeah. So I try to make them understand that early, right? But there's still, you know, a lot of my talks when I had last week, there wasn't a dry eye in the place, which I never let anyone get out without a dry eye. But, you know, talking about comparisons, and that's all social media based, isn't it? Like when I was young, a long freaking time ago, we would compare ourselves, right? Because that's a human trait, but nothing like now.
Well, our photos didn't come out because they were on film.
That's correct.
So it would be a blur. There would be no fine high def anything.
Right. So it is like the comparison game is just hard. Yeah. Boys are falling in it.
Boys are never extremely falling into it right now.
Right. It's Boys never fell into that before. And now it's a thing. So
I want to get down to the grit on recruiting. So for those sophomores, well, they're entering their junior year, recruiting window just opened. They're not in the transfer portal and they haven't gotten a call. Mom, athlete are a little bit kind of in this bubble of what do we do? How long do we wait? Is this normal? Is this not? What's some of your advice on what to do right now?
So I try to prep people beforehand and let them know you may not get a call. Like
which is also normal.
Which is normal, right? Normal. If you are not 6 foot plus in this country and trying to play beach, it's quite possible you're not going to get anything to start with. This could be 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, a year. It could be 2 years. I'm still helping seniors get recruited right now, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of coaches in this country are smart and they're like, I know this kid's going to pop when they're a junior or senior. And, you know, these kids may have been it and beating everyone when they're 14, 15, or 16. But there are kids who hit their ceiling or start really blooming when they're juniors and seniors. So they watch. There are, I could name at least 6 coaches right now that are D1 that just wait. They're like, that's fine. I know I'm not going to get the Sarah Woods of this country, but I'm going to sit and wait because there's going to be some juniors and seniors coming up out of nowhere that we didn't even know about. We didn't even know their name before recruitment started. So I would say, be calm, wait. I've told everybody this in my years of recruiting, you always end up where you're supposed to. Like you've just got to wait it out. And no matter what, even if you are getting calls or emails in the beginning, that doesn't mean anything. They're starting a relationship with you. They've never talked to you. These coaches need to know who you are. Number one way of getting recruited is going to camps and showing what you could be to their culture. What is your character? So you're not going to get recruited early if you're not a giant, but then they need to know, hey, what are you bringing to my program? Are you going to make everyone laugh? Are you the leader? Are you the one who's organized to make sure we have everything before we get on the road? You have to have something that sets you apart.
Some type of leadership.
Some type of leadership, absolutely.
You could be the music DJ.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a huge part.
Everyone, that's a huge, like, if you're the DJ in the locker room, like, that's a big role.
That's a big role.
Yes.
And do you have the clean mix?
Yeah.
That's the big one, guys. Yeah. Every time I'm with people, I'm like, do you have the clean mix? Because that ain't going to work, especially the boys, right?
I know.
The boys, oh my gosh.
I know. You're like, what was that?
Yeah, that is not, okay. So yeah, it is a giant thing. You've got to, I tell everyone, wave your freak flag, like be you times 10. Because
there's a role for everybody.
Absolutely. There is a role. Exactly. But you can't just be this meek person that's going to sit in the back, because also who are you on the court, right? One of my girls that just got recruited to. I'm very excited. She is the quietest girl, just quiet and sweet, very proper. She gets on the court. She's a freaking loud beast. She's like the dream kid. You know, if I built a volleyball player, this kid would be it, because she gets on the court and it's like it doesn't matter. It's not about being pretty. It's not about being quiet. It's about like, I'm going to let my freak flag fly. And that's what everybody needs to do during recruitment. Stay the course, keep working, wait, know that program is waiting for you, right? But the big thing is also, there are not a ton of spaces. You also have to understand the numbers, like you were saying, Meg, right? Like,
it's changed a lot. It's changed. Specifically this year. Yeah. I felt it last summer, and I felt the anxiety really increase with our junior athletes. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this year it's even more so emphasized, because there's so many good kids. You're doing a great job across the country. Clubs are growing around the country. So we're just churning out more and more. It's a positive problem.
It is. The level of ball is, I can't even believe the level. Have you gone and watched any of like the beach?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And like, just to touch a little bit on the opportunity side of the sport, of course, everybody wants to go D1, the shiny D1, but there's plenty of room. Like there's D2, D3, NAIA, junior college, like some of the some great athletes I've competed against and with, they went the JUCO route and then they transferred to a top 5 university and found a starting role. Like everybody is on their own timeline, and this is the conversation that we're talking about right now, is like, that's okay if you go to a junior college. Like that's awesome. You get so many reps no matter where you go. And if that's a part of your story, like good on you. You are playing college volleyball.
Yeah, what they say is only 16% of any high school athlete makes it to any level of college sport across all sports.
That's a tiny number.
I wouldn't have
thought it was that low.
It's 100% that number. So you have to be able to keep that in your mind. Like you said, I think that's such a good point. Any college right now is a big deal, because you're going in as an athlete, right? And I have a lot of athletes that have gone D2 and D3 because they wanted to go there, because their education is as important, if not more important. And a lot of D2s and D3s, they stress education first. Yeah. And education is the rest of your life. Beach volleyball is 4 years.
For sure.
Right? For most people, right? So you have to also keep that in mind. But the other thing that I would want to stress is, and that you see, especially with older people, like I coach, like you said, Vic, I coach some really much more mature people in some parts of the year, and they love the game for life. Yes. We don't want you to get done playing beach volleyball after college and be done. We want you to play beach volleyball for life. And I can't imagine not doing it, but there are people that could burn out at D1, right? So maybe you don't need that. Maybe you want to be NAIA, D2, D3, because you love the game, but you understand where it's going to fit into your life, and you don't want to get burned out, and your education is in the forefront, as it should be, right?
And also, I have heard that NCAA is going to extend scholarships to be unlimited. And I think that's coming in maybe this fall.
It's coming in this fall, but that's a big decision that the NCAA has just made. We don't know if it's going to be per school yet or not. So it depends on your Title IX and the amount of money that your school has, apparently. So each school's roster size, roster maximum will be different. So maybe at Texas, where they have, let's face it, a lot of money, right? Versus whatever, Austin P, right? They may have different levels of what their max roster size will be. Maybe Texas's is 25 and Austin P's is 16, right? But it's not guaranteed that they're going to be full rides. That's the grand hope, and what we're hoping right now, from what I've been told from the people in the know.
But it changes the game big time.
Completely changes the game for the better. Yep. But it also very much limits a lot of things with those schools that have larger rosters. They're carrying more people. Right. It's going to bring down the number for a lot of available positions. Right.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Watch the space.
Will tell. Yeah.
Keep you posted.
Not only are you involved in juniors, and to kind of just wrap that recruiting conversation, but this photo behind you.
It's pretty cool.
You're representing some
the bigger
team red, white, and blue over there.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough. I've been working for USA Volleyball at the NTDP since before NTDP actually, but they changed to the National Training Development Program after COVID, or really during COVID is when it was announced. And I think I'm the only coach that's been at every single NTDP camp since the beginning of the program.
Thank you, Coach of the Year.
Oh, thank you.
Coach of the Year.
A smattering of applause. Actually, I just realized, I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we missed it because we both got COVID at AVCA. So I did miss one. Womp womp. We missed the one that was really cold and rainy, though. Sorry, guys.
It was cold and rainy because you're bright, shining.
Yeah.
Oh, that's there.
Mm-hmm. She knows me. She knows me.
Family.
So
we're related in a past life.
That's right. That's right. Apparently, I'm your wayward aunt.
Yes.
That's what we hear. I'm just a lot darker because I'm outside all the time.
There you go.
Okay, so anyway, I've been with NTDP and loved it. Meg works with me at NTDP also for USA. So we do 4 camps a year, and I've been hoping and praying that I could be an international coach representing the country. That would make me really proud, since I'm like live, eat, and breathe and dream beach volleyball. So last year, I was the U19 national team coach, and I was able to take 1 girls and 1 boys team to Puerto Rico, and my boys Jackson and Kai grabbed the gold there, and my girls Kennedy Coakley, who's actually playing a bunch of FIVB
With Brooke Sweat.
tours events with Brooke Sweat.
She just medaled.
They medaled twice. The last 2 in Poland, they got bronze, and the one right before that, they got bronze too. So proud of them. That's absolutely amazing. Anyway, so my girls got silver. So it was fantastic. It was such a joy to be able to represent the country. I hope I get to do it again, but I get to go to all the camps and do it that way and get to work. We're boys. We really work with boys only. I got to work with girls last year because of U19, because I took a boys and a girls team. But it's just been fantastic. Actually, when we had our first USA Boys camp, NTDP, I was absolutely aghast at how bad the boys were. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how far behind they were. And so I walked away from that camp. Were you at that camp with me?
Maybe.
I don't remember. I walked away from that camp just going, oh my God, I have to help these boys in this country. This is absolutely awful. They have no chance at getting any private training. So I started doing my camps for boys. And I've got probably a couple hundred boys around the country now that I've gotten been blessed to work with. And the level of boys now we go to camp and it's actually really good. Like the boys are really raising the level, and within 2.5 years of them being not good.
That's it. On the boys' side, you really only need 2 years to really make huge jumps because they're so athletic and agile in the sand.
Yes.
You can see that impact.
They get away with it though.
It's
like
annoying.
even
It's annoying.
Every level, like on the girls' side, the ball control is so much better. Like, and I'll take that stand. I'll die on that sword because boys, they get away with jumping high and hitting hard and kind of flying in with a weird step close, but like making it work. Like with my boys' indoor club, I'm like that. These plays would never happen in girls volleyball, even at the U14 level, because they're just so dynamic and disciplined in their movements. Not saying that boys can't either, but at a young age, they get away with moving to the ball and kind of just like flailing into it, and weird stuff happens, and they score points.
Yes,
it's weird.
That's weird.
But they need structure.
Yes,
we need structure.
Oh, trust me, and I bring down the hammer on them. I call them exploding starfish.
Yes.
And then they'll always be like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Do you know what a starfish is?" Now imagine it exploding, and that's what you look like in the air, right? Because of your step close, guys. Step close is so imperative. I love how every couple of years there's some big changes in the game, right? At least the beach game, right? And the last couple of years to me, obviously, it's option, spread offense, and step close because of Amon and Helvig, right? And Miles and Andy, right? You've got to have a great step close and be able to control your body when it leaves the earth, because then you're in the air. And especially guys, like you said, they're in the air twice as long as girls. And man, if you're not controlling your body when you leave the earth, forget about it.
Big time. Speaking of the international side, any favorites heading into Paris here?
Oh, good question, man. She's been waiting for this.
I mean, clearly, because we talk so much about, we're just volley dorks, and you do international commentating, which I'm like, love. So, I mean, I have favorites, and let's face it, everybody going to the Olympics is insane. It literally could be anybody's game. There's some dark horses in there. I have a personal love of Nikolai and Kodafava on the men's side. I know, of course, on the U.S. side, I'm right behind all of our U.S. guys. I mean, Chase and Miles, what a story.
That's a story.
Absolutely
I know.
insane.
I'm so excited for them.
It's like,
It's awesome.
I can't
So
even
excited. I was
believe-
pulling for them.
Oh,
Pulling.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's just crazy how they got there, though, right? If you were watching and listening to Sandcast all the way along, I mean, absolutely insane. There's been a lot of great storylines along the way. And obviously, Miles and Andy, I mean, my gosh, you know, we really pray. But I really love Sam and Nikolai. I can't help it. They're just, but Italy's also my favorite country, and maybe that's why, right? I also love Menegatti and what's her name? It just slipped my mind. The Italian women's, Kodafava's dating her, Gottardi and Menegatti.
There you go.
Anyway, really, also really, really awesome team. But, you know, I mean, Brazil, they're all so tight. It's literally any given day.
What about on the
Anybody
women's
can
side?
win. Geez, on the women's side, I mean, Sarah and Kelly have now been peaking again, which I think is great. Obviously, Nuss and Cloth, I mean, come on, who can't root for them? They couldn't be like more pure of heart.
Who else goes in the semifinals? If you put those two, who are the other two?
Gosh, if you put those two women in there, who's going to win?
No, who's the other
Who's
two?
on the other
Who's
side?
the other two? Gosh, I'll tell you, I think that I think Carol and Barbara have really been looking crazy lately,
I think so too.
right? But Mel and Brandy, like Mel had a bit of a little weird hitch last weekend where like she was having trouble passing and siding out. I've never seen that out of Mel. Have you guys?
No.
Never once. Like she had like a whole 6-point stint where I was like, who is that? Anyway, I mean, Mel and Brandy, obviously. I don't know who's that Slovakian team. Do you know who I'm talking about? They just made it in. It's the first time they've ever had a women's team in the Olympics. I can't remember their name, but the blocker is 6'5" and just a beast, and the defender's small and just she's a vacuum back there. Anyway, I can't even put all. There's so many. It could literally be anybody.
Duda and Anna Patricia.
I mean, here's the thing. Let's be honest.
Nerding out with our volleyball.
We really are. I mean, Duda is the most consistent, solid, scary volleyball player ever. But Anna Patricia, if you get in her head, you can kind of break her down. She's either going to get mad and she's going to start pushing balls down on the 3-foot line, or she's going to start making a lot of mistakes, right? So for them, I think it could go either way because it's very emotional. Do you know what I mean? But like, any of the Brazilians, you can never count Brazilians out of
really
They have
anything.
4 women's
You really
teams in
count.
the top, I think, 16. Like
Yeah.
2 pairs are the top 16 in the world, and they don't get to go to Olympics.
Isn't that
That's
crazy?
crazy to me. That's
Yeah, but I
really
mean, it's
crazy.
Brazilian beach volleyball. I mean,
Right.
it's so deep. I mean, how
Right.
many do you actually have?
Right.
On the Dutch side, I mean, they're really deep
Yeah.
too. Like, how could it be that deep in the Dutch side?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Brouwer and Mewson didn't make it, did they?
No.
I mean, that's
They
crazy.
missed it just
That's
shy.
crazy to me. But what about the new men's Cuban team?
Yeah.
Day?
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
I
The
know.
6'10" or 6'11" skinny guy that you could almost see
Great.
through him, right? his legs are like my wrists, right? And he's the defender.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Have you watched them play?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
They're
Yeah, so
really
it's just
fun.
so fun.
It's just like
Yeah.
real
Really
no
fun.
gadget.
Yeah.
What about on the men's side, Sweden and Norway?
I mean, here's the thing, right? Mole is post-surgery, right? You could see at the last where were they at? Ostrava, you could see in the semis his foot was hurting, and even in the quarters. So he started like babying it a little bit. So I'm a little worried about him and being okay. And hopefully he's getting healed, but I think he probably went backwards a little bit in Ostrava with his foot. I mean, the Swedish jump set, like they're really hard to beat. Like they're hard to beat. The only thing that I've seen that was really cool and possibly semi-unstoppable for them is Nikolai started swing blocking half the time. And it's kind of a
I've been
surprise.
saying that all year.
Yeah, Meg's been talking about this swing block on the sand. So that's so funny that you mentioned that.
We share a brain.
I'm
on
like,
that.
okay,
I
there
think
you
it's
go.
going to come in. I think it's going to be something that features that people start
kinda
saying.
have
Especially
to.
if you have to stay on the second contact.
Exactly.
Like you really need a big crossover step potentially to like get on that attacker, because you have to stay true and honor the second ball.
Yeah.
But then you have to make a fast move.
Yeah, I mean, there's really in beach volleyball world, there's no way to make that move, especially if they're spreading it enough, right? If they're going 25% of the net or more with tempo, I mean, forget it. Like, there's no way it's going to happen. We were talking about some crazy ways to kind of change that up, and I had this idea. I want to know if it works with having just blocking the guy in front of you, having a split, more like a split men's team, and like blocking the guy in front of you.
See,
that's clever.
Ways of thinking.
That's clever.
I mean, it seems like how else do you stop it? I know.
Which could be funny. Wasn't it Try and Trevor that did that?
Yes.
I thought it was Andy and Miles.
Andy and Miles just had one in the Strava, and it was a perfect double block. They like sealed it.
Wasn't it for game point?
Yes, it was amazing. Yeah. It was so good. But I think that you have, like, there's going to have to be different ways. But I did notice in Ostrava that that the read on the jump set is they're getting better at seeing that they're not going and getting to the hitters.
But that's also down to the technique of, where their hips facing.
It is.
It's no longer just jump setting to disrupt. Like, if you're not facing a hit,
and so many people are doing that. Guys, please stop doing that. Can we stop doing that? You actually have your hips and shoulders on the cross corner minimum. If they're not on the cross side of the court, you're not going to be hitting. Like, come on, stop wasting energy. It makes me crazy. Yeah. I see juniors clubs will be posting film or whatever. And I'm like, I'm glad they're trying something new.
Right.
Well, don't try it something new when you're squared up to the pin. Like, we all know what's happening. You're just wasting energy. Your kid's going to be in 90-degree weather. And jump setting when they're facing the pin, it makes 0 sense. Mm-hmm. So stop doing that, please.
So I want to flip the gears a little bit and talk about the Beach Volleyball Women's Coaches Alliance.
You said it right.
I did. The BVWCA.
Oh my gosh. 10. I mean, I'm so impressed that you did that. So this is funny. The Beach Volleyball Women's Coaches Alliance, I founded with Pri Piantadosa Lima, who is my good friend, and she's the new head coach of the USF team in Florida. And Kaya Marciniak, who's also a pro player and amazing. She's been in Poland, just had another baby. Congratulations to Kaya and Piotr. Yeah, they did. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Mila. Gosh, how could I forget? I'm her spiritual godmother, guys. Okay. Anyway, so
vibes coming in hot.
That's right. Me and a lot of my spirits coming at you, Mila. So anyway, we founded that one day. There's a lot more men in a women's sport coaching than there is women. And one day we were at a Florida tournament, and Pri came up to me. She barely knew me, but she came up to me. She's like, I'm really sick of the sausage party that is coaching for beach volleyball. Let's make it a girls thing. We're going to make a girls alliance. It's going to be about women coaching women. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. So anyway, I didn't understand how quickly Pri makes things move. So we left, of course, on a Sunday. And on Tuesday, we were on a video call with her and Kaya. And we were like, okay, well, I guess we're going to do this. And we actually called it the BVCA, the Beach Volleyball Coaches Alliance, to start with, which makes sense, right? But then the BVCA Basketball Women's Coaches Alliance sent us a letter that they were going to sue us. So we had to change it and reprint everything. So that's why it became the BVWCA, Beach Volleyball Women's Coaches Alliance. Anyway, so on Tuesday, we're on a Zoom call and we're talking about like what we could do and how we can help get more women coaching in this space. And by the time we got off the phone, they had already secured a website. We had already got in for our whatever we needed to be an actual like C Corp thing, whatever. Like, I was like, okay, I guess, okay. They had stuff printed on Friday. I was like, all right. So anyway, what we do and have done in the past is we've done commit camps, which were an idea I had so long ago. And they were commit-only camps because a lot of girls, after they get committed, they'll either kind of lose focus because they're like, right? Or they won't have the training around other elite girls that they want. So we created these camps in the way that I still do them, the 2-day, 8-hour-a-day, 16-hour trainings that I do them. So we did a lot of commit camps. We did one that was a thing that I'd been dreaming of commit programs versus programs. So we did one where it was, we had GCU, we had Georgia State. We had 6 programs that were competing against each other, all commits for that program. So it was really, really cool. So fun. And then we also do women's coaches, both college and junior Zoom calls that we all talk about how we can support each other and get more women in the space and the whys and the hows of all of that. And it's just been really great. I think that we are very active in trying to support getting more women into the space because we need more women coaches, guys. We need them. Come on.
And if we want, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we host an awesome get-together in SoCal in the summer because all the junior events are going on. So if you are a female coach out there, you're looking to network and get involved and join, reach out to Nicole because you're always welcome to join us.
Please. Love it. Yeah.
And if they want to contact you either for a camp or maybe just a conversation, what's the best way?
Probably Instagram because it's 2024. So I'm VB_coach_ Nicole, Nicole. No H for those people. I don't know why people put an H in Nicole, but anyway, VB_coach_ Nicole on Instagram.
Awesome.
Love it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you guys. This has been
amazing.
so fun.
So fun.
Yeah, we could do it another 5 hours.
I know. Key takeaways.
I mean, grit is so cool. I'm so thrilled that you guys have done this. Like, we really needed that in beach volleyball. This is another growth opportunity, another level of us growing the game. And you guys were able to take this on. I just absolutely love it. I'm so thankful for that. Right? I love the Sandcast guys doing what they do.
Yeah.
Like, us people who are dieharders, we love this stuff, and it makes me feel really connected to the home of beach volleyball land in California because you guys do this, and the Sandcat guys and the Better at Beach guys, they're awesome. Like, it's just fantastic. So thank you. I hope I get to be on here one day again soon.
Yeah,
Hopefully I'll go travel around the world. Maybe me and Meg together are going to travel around the
We're gonna
world.
try.
We're going to do some, we're going to make it happen.
We'll come to you guys wherever you are in the world.
That's correct.
But thank you so much for coming to MB Studios here in LA, all the way from Atlanta.
I think, yeah. Wherever I came from.
Right?
I don't know. It was like 5 states, like for 3 weeks before this. Anyway, thank you guys.
Thank you. And that's it for now, folks. Make sure to like and subscribe this video. Please reach out to Coach Nicole if you have any questions or want to attend her camps. You'll see Coach Meg there as well. And maybe, who knows, if you need an extra shoulder, I'll hit down balls at you as well.
That's happening.
She's going to be our blocker.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, we're going to do a lot of stuff with you.
Okay,
I got
good
it now.
stuff. Make sure to sign up and like and subscribe to this video. We'll catch you next time.